portion that God has given you today. It's going to be really quick. I'm not going to be long. But one of the things that I see happening in church, not just in church, but just in general, we allow what we see to dictate or make us believe that we need certain things in life, or we have to be at a certain place in life in order to be fulfilled or in order to be happy. And you gotta be careful with allowing your eyes to be enticed by the scene versus standing on the truth and the foundation of the Word of God, which comes from the inside, which comes from the Father. And I want to talk about Paul. One of the things that I love about Paul is that he really, really was an advocate for spreading the gospel. And he was someone that I think he was just a die-hard fan of Jesus Christ and a die-hard fan for the truth. And not only that, I think he understood the greatness in helping others. You know, he understood that great revelation of helping others. You know, and I really feel like definitely God anointed him in that time period. But Apostle Paul, he says, I have been content with much, and I have been content with little. And I think that if we can take that approach and just apply it to our lives in totality, then anything that we happen to lose in our life, we can count it as gain. You know, especially my brothers and sisters in Christ, especially my ministers of the gospel. Anything that we may happen to lose, we count it as gain. You know, and when it comes to living this life for the gospel. And I understand some people, they walk by faith and they are like, you know, they are paid by doing ministry full time. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And I'll be honest, I'm still growing and learning what it truly means to walk by faith, you know, when it comes to allowing God to be your supplier, because it's definitely not easy. I know this firsthand, not necessarily in finances, but I know this firsthand when it comes to my walk with Him. A lot of people, just as a side note, they're very reliant on people, and God had to break me from that. And what I'm learning in this Abrahamic journey of mine is to be reliant on God and to fine-tune my ears to hear His voice, you know. So if we use that same rule of thumb, or just, you know, when it comes to walking by faith in your finances, I think that we can use Paul's that scripture that Paul wrote, which is, I have been content with little and I have been content with much. And I think that I remember when God spoke to me a time back, and He said, Nina, are you content with the portion that I have given you today? Today, just today. I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm not talking about 5 years from now. I'm not talking about yesterday. Are you content with what I've given you today? And I think anybody who is in the faith, and I think anybody who may be an unbeliever, can definitely learn from this. That if you can find it in yourself to trust the Creator, trust, our Father, then I think that you'll have more peace when things don't go your way. Or you'll have more peace when you may not be able to get the things that you want. And it's not to say that God doesn't want to bless you, or but you have to also understand what the definition of a blessing. And the only way you're going to be able to know the definition of being blessed is if you talk to God about that. Actually ask Him, what does it mean to be blessed, God? Because if you go based upon social media standards, if you go based upon what you see on TV, if you go based upon Beyonce, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, all these, superstars, Tom Cruise, then you have a very small-minded view of what it means to be blessed. So I want to encourage everybody here that if you may lack, or if you think you may lack, really think about what God has already blessed you with. And I think that if you can focus on what you have currently, that will take you to the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then you'll see how far God has really brought you and how much He's actually blessed you. I think about where I used to be, and there are times where I can get discouraged about where I am in my life, because where I am in my life is definitely, I don't want to stay in this level. I definitely want to, move further and where God has called me to. But I am more blessed than where I came from. I used to be a server. No shade to any servers, but I used to be a server. Having to work my butt off or whatever just to make ends meet. I mean, living with my mom, and not having to pay rent. Now I'm able to, if I have the choice if I want to live with somebody or not. I have the choice of doing certain things. I'm able to travel more. I am blessed. So I just want to encourage someone out there that if you are someone who's walking by faith, take the scripture that Paul said, which is, I have been content. I have learned to be content with little, and learn to be content with much. And I was talking to God the other day. I said, you know what? If I happen to get rich one day, like I'm talking about like Beyonce rich, or just more well off than where I am now, and I happened to lose it. I've lived frugal. I've lived where you had to make Kool-Aid. You got to be creative with making sandwiches. You got to get creative with budgeting your money. Like, I've lived that way. I know how, and I still do that sometimes. So I know how to work in being frugal, or in not having a lot. I know how to live that way. So if I was to lose it all, I still would be able to say, I'm blessed. I'm still blessed because I belong to the Father, and I know how to work with what I have today. So I want to also say this to myself, that whatever I'm thrown with in life, I will enjoy the portion that God has given me today. And that my happiness is not in things that I have obtained in this life. My happiness is solely in the fact that I belong to the Father. I belong to Christ. And I live in Him, and He lives in me. So I love you guys. I know you guys can hardly see me because I'm driving. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right. Bye.